Hi guys, Tom Baker here from Chasing Cars. Happy New Year. I'm really pleased to be back with you all to start making another year of videos, and there's going to be more than ever, and what better way to start than with an overview of the production Toyota Supra, which was unveiled early this morning at the Detroit Auto Show. Well, as you can see, I'm not in Detroit, I'm in sunny Sydney, but we've still got a heap to cover on this pivotal new sports car. Not only has it been a long time since the last Toyota Supra rolled off the production line back in 2002, it's been a very long time since we found out the new A90 generation would be built. In fact, the concept this vehicle was based on and has remained fairly true to, the FT1, was unveiled exactly 5 years ago. The drip feed has been in full force in the intervening half-decade, so by now, expectations are sky high that this thing will actually drive well. It's fair to say that the last Supra was a cult car. The A80 was loved in its own time as a series production vehicle, but even more so by the modification and tuning crowd who still swear by it. Especially when the A80 Supra was equipped with the 2JZ twin-turbo engine, this classic Toyota is regarded by many as the peak achievement of the brand. The new Supra? Well, although it has more than a few visual cues that link it into the Supra lineage, like these distinctive headlights and of course that unique badge, under the skin, the A90 is a rather different proposition to the A80. In the age we're living in, sports cars don't make much money for their manufacturers. In fact, they usually make a loss, offset by the cars punters buy in droves like SUVs and hatchbacks. Even for a company as big as Toyota, it's hard to justify a car like this, especially if they don't have the right platform already lined up. In Toyota's case, it has a motorsport mad company president in Akio Toyoda, and thanks to him, both the 86 and this Supra actually got off the ground. The compromise? Akio had to find partners for both projects. That was Subaru in the case of the 86, and here with the new Supra, it's BMW. You'll either love that, or you'll hate it. The main reason this had to happen is that Toyota didn't have a suitable platform available to build their own proper Supra. They do have a new rear drive platform in TNGA-L, which underlies the Lexus LC, but that's designed for longer wheelbases. However, BMW's cluster architecture was basically a perfect fit for this type of car, and I can see why Akio liked it. It's modular, so it could be made shorter and lighter, and it made it easy to attain a 50-50 weight distribution for the Supra. And not only that, Toyota also played with the dimensions here to achieve what they call the golden ratio of wheelbase to track width of 1.55 to 1. What about power? Well, as most people expected, the engine is the BMW B58 inline 6-cylinder rather than a Toyota unit. Yes, I read the forums and I see people wondering where the heck a 3JZ is, but all I can say is that in this age of emissions regulations, Toyota are staying as far away from developing that sort of thing as possible. In fact, if their committees had their way, this car probably wouldn't exist at all. Instead, the Supra borrows BMW's fairly clean petrol 6, which uses twin-scroll turbocharging to produce 250 kilowatts of power and 500 newton meters of torque. If those outputs sound familiar, it's because they are. The Supra makes the same power as its brother from another mother, the BMW Z4 M40i, not to mention other Beamers we all seem to like, such as the M240i and M140i. Don't get me wrong, I'd love to see a 3JZ in this car, I really would. But given how unlikely that is, and how Toyota clearly had to spend money quite leanly on this project, getting a solid BMW 6 is a result. And Toyota says that with launch control, it'll do a 4.3 second sprint to 100 km per hour, or about the same as a BMW M2 competition, and that is hardly slow. Inside, the shared lineage of this Japanese-German creation is pretty clear. Toyota did the seats, the dash wrap, the lower door panels, the distinctive broad air vents, plus some extra padding in the knee region. Subscribers will know how excited that makes me. But basically everything else here is BMW, and it's pretty obvious. Screen, check. iDrive, check. Climate controls, check. Steering wheel buttons, oh my god, check. But once again, if you think about it deeply, is this even a bad thing? Probably not. BMW make a good looking, grown up interior. Outside, the Supra is a real feast for the eyes. Haters will say it's busy, but I reckon it looks good. That's just me though. Thankfully, the double bubble roof made it out of the conceptual world and into production, as did the fab whale tail, the low-mounted third brake light, big pipes, enormously flared rear fenders, and the Ferrari Enzo-like front apron treatment, plus those distinctive headlights. I'd be lying if I said it wasn't a very busy design, and it's up to you to decide whether you like it or not. Let me know below in the comments. One question I've got is, where is the front number plate going to go? Certain world markets like the UK have already confirmed they'll be receiving 2 grades of Supra. Toyota Australia aren't saying yet, but their press release does refer to all specifications of Supra coming to Australia, meaning, I guess, more than one. Will we see the 4-cylinder? I don't know. I personally doubt it. I think we'll see a high-spec and a low-spec 6. What we do know is that the Supra is being built by Magna Steyr in Graz, Austria, and it will arrive in Australia before Christmas in 2019. There will be just 300 cars available to Australians in the first 12 months of sales, so if you're getting all hot and heavy about the new Supra, you'll want to start chatting to your dealer pretty soon. 300 cars might not sound like a lot, but here's an interesting thing. Despite Europe having a population 30 times the size of Australia, they're only getting 900 cars in their first year, or 3 times as many locally. That shows you just how many sports cars Australians buy and how seriously Toyota and other brands take performance car enthusiasts in this country. We also know that all Australian Supras will pack the adaptive rear differential that can lock up to 100% virtually instantaneously. In most markets, there will be differentiation in the form of things like Alcantara versus leather seats and ordinary versus JBL audio. What about price? Well, we know that in the UK, the Supra will start around 95,000 Australian dollars or £52,000. These sorts of cars are generally more expensive over there, so if specification was equal, which we ultimately don't know, I'd expect a starting price of around 80,000 Australian dollars here. Would you buy a Supra at that price? Let me know in the comments. Well, that's an overview of the new Toyota Supra for you. Having seen camouflage versions before, I can't wait to see the uncovered production version in person, not to mention driving this utterly hyped up vehicle as soon as possible. As always, please like this video, subscribe to Chasing Cars, and share this film with your friends. It really does help us to continue making original Australian car content. Thanks a bunch.